All right, welcome back to the last day of CITIUS MAG Live from Eugene. Chris Chavez and Eric Jenkins here, and we've got a loaded slate of guests today on the show. People who've made this year's Olympic team, but we're going to kick things off with one of the greatest distance runners in American history, the Olympic bronze medalist in the marathon from 2016, the Olympic silver medalist in the 10K from 2012, Galen Rupp. Galen, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here.
So I guess let's catch up. Orlando was back in February. You went a little viral, I guess, for the puking photo at the finish line.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, it was all over Instagram.
That's news to me. All right.
And so then afterwards, I guess we didn't really see a whole lot or hear a lot about you after that race. What's been up the last couple months?
Yeah, I was a bit out of it after that race, but it was obviously a real tough one for me. And I had surgery in April, so just a lot of things have been going on the last couple of years, and so now I thought it was a good time to fix it, and hopefully we're past all of that. But I've just been rehabbing since then. I just got the okay about a week and a half ago to start running again, but it's super slow. Like I run for a minute, walk for a minute. I ran with Ricky this morning out on Priest Trail. Probably look like a scrub, like jogging and then walking for a while, but it's been great to be back, and yeah, my body's feeling really good.
That'd be great to see Galen Rupp just walking on Priest Trail.
Different. Yeah. So, Galen, I guess give us the timeline of just sort of the health leading into Orlando, and then just where you were at that point, and then you gave it the best effort you could, and honestly, given all those factors, the finish is impressive.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, it was really rough over there. It's no secret. I've had a lot of health problems the last couple of years. I had a lot of issues with my back where I had a herniated disc, and I had problems that showed up on MRI with my hip, but I had a torn labrum and a couple impingements is what they fixed. But a lot of people have torn labrums and it doesn't bother them, and so everyone's like, "You're back, you're back, you're back," and that was all I put my effort into. And all of a sudden, after a couple of years, my back started feeling good, but something still just really didn't feel right. My buildup was definitely pretty rough before the trials. I wasn't able to do workouts that I could hit in high school, it was just really, really frustrating because aerobically I felt so good. And I'd talk to Mike and be like, "Yeah, breathing feels great. I feel like I'm in good shape. I literally can't move." And but that's the thing about the trials is you have to be ready on that day, and so I gave it my best. But yeah, it was definitely very rough and really, really a tough one for me.
When did that race start to get hard? Because for you as an athlete, you go into that, just even if it's so painful, all right, top 3 is the goal, and I think you'd been sort of in that world ranking quota, so everyone kind of trying to figure out that whole side of things. So for you, at what point in the race was all right, this year's Olympic dream is slipping away?
I mean, I was really hurting even at halfway, which is not a usual feeling for me. Normally for me in the marathon, it was always about relaxing, getting to halfway as easy as possible, and you don't really even start looking to compete until 8, 6, 5 miles to go. And that was my plan going in there, but I was really, really struggling to stay on. And then, I did have to stop a few times, to try to stretch out. It was my wife and kids were out there, and I remember telling myself, there's no way I'm not going to finish this. But yeah, there were periods where I was walking and, I stopped, I saw them, and I really, really broke down with about maybe a mile and a half to go. Stopped and gave them a hug, and it was just tough. I think you can kind of tell when it's not your day. And I knew something wasn't right with me physically, but just wanted to get across the line, and then you move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Well, I was gonna say, we're here in Eugene, Hayward Field in the background. With your college career, your professional career, you got to be one of the most winningest athletes to ever compete at Hayward. Are there any races that stand out to you? What's some of your most favorite experiences thinking about Hayward?
I have so many, even coming down here, I remember just being in awe in high school, coming down for the state meet. And pre-classic used to always be the day after the state meet finished. So we'd run the state meet, stay and watch pre, and it was the most unbelievable weekend of track. And I just loved it. The energy, there really was nothing like it. And so to be able to compete down here at the U of O, be a Duck, I mean, you know what it's like. It definitely, they give you a lift, for sure. Running that Oregon uniform here, and former Ducks, even now you hear the ovations they get, and when they're in it, I do believe that crowd makes a huge difference. I would say as far as races, pre-classic in 2014 when I won the 10K, you know, broke the American record. That was just an unbelievable day. And then the Olympic trials, you know, all the trials, but really like 2012 was a great one. You know, I ran great in the 10K.
Yeah.
You know,
that was when the rain was when it was absolutely coming down, right?
Yeah. And then for me too, like it was just really cool to get over the hump in the 5K, you know, and finally beat Bernard, who was just unbelievable, and to beat him, you know, in a kicker's race was something that I worked so hard for years to try to get that kick, and to be able to put it together and get it there, that set me up so much, you know, for the summer and really my career. It gave me so much confidence, that 5K race.
When we look at some of the athletes right now who are like, oh, like they're on a hot streak right now. It's like Josh Kerr and Jakob Ingebrigtsen, you know, they're on it. There's been periods where like you look at Grant Fisher's like, this guy can't lose. What was sort of that period that you felt that you were most like on? Like, was there a span of time that you're like, oh yeah, from like 2012, you know, April to August, like I was on?
Yeah, I think all from 2012 through 2014, you know, for sure was great. You know, 2012 was big. You know, physically I was probably in, you know, the best shape I've been in, but mentally, what happened to me, you know, at the trials and then after the Olympics, it just was such a big boost, because for so long you're scrapping and fighting. You know, I was like 5th, 6th, 7th in a lot of these races, and you know, I kept saying this is going to be the year I'm going to get over the hump. And for it to finally happen, that was just such a big moment for me, for my own confidence. And after that, it was like I knew that I belonged and really could compete with all these guys. And so that was a big one for me. I'll tell you this, though, I've been so impressed with Cole Hawker. I really think that this is his coming out party. I mean, he's my favorite in the 5K tonight. I think just the way he's run the heats as well. You know, he has just looked so impressive and dominant. You know, whether he wants to lead from the front the whole way, he's kicking from further out, and I just think he's the guy to beat tonight.
I know kind of training has like changed over the last couple of years, right? Like now everyone's kind of, you know, looking at the double threshold Norwegian model and everything. But you had this period of time too around like 2013, 2014 where you guys were dipping down, you know, to the mile, and then like reaping the benefits of that, you know, come the 10K, 5K during the outdoor season. How did you sort of remember structuring that training where it's like, you know, you look at even someone like Hobbs throwing down to like a 143, 800. Like there's guys who are taking it and mastering that 1500 from the speed side of things and also like from the strength side of things, because you have Cole going, you know, 1250, 1258, whatever it was in LA, and who knows how fast he's going to go. So like, you know, both sides of it, you've experimented with both, you know, opposites of training, right? Yeah,
I mean, ironically, I hated doing the long stuff, like really? Long runs, thresholds. I was good at it, but they were my least favorite thing to do by far. And the way that I always approached things was I was a sprinter. You know, I was like a sprinter trapped in a distance runner's body. But that was the way that I trained in everything. You know, we believed that we had to be strong enough that you can't get dropped. You obviously have to be really fit to run fast and be there at the end. But every bit of extra energy that you're spending on strength work after that is almost wasted time. We put all of that into sprinting. You know, I still believe speed kills, you know, and it's a fun mix right now, I think, of guys where you see a lot of them are coming from that strength approach. They're going to push, and it's lead to some incredible times. But, you know, I think now with Kerr and Cole as well, you're seeing that they've caught up with that strength runner, and it's deadly to be able to kick at the end. You know, if nobody can beat you in the last 100 meters, all you got to do is make sure you're there. And that's an easy thing to say, but those guys are doing it now, and I think that kick at the end is deadly and what you have to have ultimately to be one of the best.
Yeah, I remember in 2016 when you were still like marathon training, and you closed like a workout in with a 49-second 400.
Wait, what was this workout?
And I was like, what am I supposed to do with this shit? This is insane.
Wait, I want to hear the story. What was that workout?
I can't remember exactly what the workout was, but I just remember.
You remember it?
There was a really hard 400 at the end where
I did two
Central,
of them.
Ran like 49.
I was it was right before we were in Utah, and we went down to Salt Lake. And we were running on an indoor track there actually, because it was really hot out, and I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. It was right before we left to go down to Rio. And yeah, we were doing K repeats. I think I did 6 or 8 of them, you know, probably like low 230s average. And then everything was about kicking. And so, you know, we run a couple fast quarters at the end, you know, lots of rest. But yeah, I ran 49 for those at the end of it. And that was like, gave me a ton of confidence. That was where I always got my confidence, was from my speed. But I remember when the marathon came around, I was like, I'm probably the only person in here that can break 50 for a
I'd
quarter.
assume,
But
You've got so much knowledge, so much experience. Really, there's only a few people in the world that have what you have. Do you ever think when you're done competing, when you hang them up, that you will get into coaching somehow?
Oh, I would love it. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what the future holds, but that would be my dream for sure. I feel so blessed and so fortunate to have been around so many smart people in all different disciplines. I did a ton of work with different sprint coaches over the years, and mechanics has always been a big thing for me, and I would love to be able to pass that on, to future generations, no doubt.
What about broadcaster? Because you did do a little TV with New York City Marathon, same seat that I did, and it's fun to get sort of the peek behind that, but even just sort of like hearing you speak right now, we had Centro on a couple nights ago. It's like, you guys, I would have listened to a podcast back in 2013 if you guys would have hosted something together.
Oh, well, maybe I'll have to talk to Matthew about that, but I actually enjoyed it.
You won't get a word in.
That's true. But, I really loved it. I wasn't sure how I was going to enjoy it. It was definitely something new for me, but seeing it from that perspective, it's not easy what you all do. You got to get in and out, and you got to make sure that you're concise and to the point. But I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I would love to, if those opportunities come up, I would love to do it in the future for sure.
Were you always like a big go back and watch races kind of guy? Even when it came to just sort of studying up on the World Championship 5Ks or 10Ks and how those were executed by some of those, East African runners who were your biggest competition at the time. And Mo was your training partner, but even then, you had to sometimes study film on him probably.
Yeah, I didn't watch a ton of it.
Really?
The film that I watched was more mechanically,
Okay.
Things that I was doing, what I needed to improve. And for me, the way that I learned, so much of it is about seeing it, because I could, in my mind, I'm feeling, I'm using my arms a lot. And then I look on film and it's like, no, you can pump them way more. So little things like that. Certainly, I watched some races. I was aware of my competition. But, yeah, Mo and I, our strategy when we were running together was pretty simple most of the time. It was just, nobody's going to break us. We're strong enough that nobody's going to get away from us, and we're just going to outkick them at the end. Doesn't matter whether it's 100 meters, 200, 400, 600, we'll be ready to go. And certainly, over the course of the year, we would do things in shorter races a lot and practice different tactics so that we were comfortable with it. But we really both, I would say, prided ourselves on being versatile, but ultimately we knew we were going to out-sprint people at the end.
As a big biomechanical form guy, who do you think has the best form out there right now in both the middle and longer distances?
Yeah, I mean, I love watching the thing Mo. She's probably my favorite athlete to watch. When she's healthy and running well, she's unbelievable. I think Hawker, again at the end, his mechanics have cleaned up, I think, a lot from the last couple of years. But you just watch him and what he's doing, he runs like a sprinter at that last lap, and you can see how he's able to accelerate so much. I think Kessler obviously has great form as well. He just looks like he's such a strong kid, and I think he had a background in rock climbing, is that right, as a kid? But he just looks so strong throughout his whole body, and I think that translates really well. But, a lot of the distance runners that I ran with that were great at what they did, they were all great athletes. They weren't, the uncoordinated, weak, kind of the typical stereotype of what you would think of a distance runner. So, I think that's something, kind of a myth that needs to get, put away a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're all really athletic.
What do you think changed? Obviously, let's go to, both the 5K and 10K, which were, your specialty events for a bit. The 1,500, everyone gives Centro a lot of credit to, he won the Olympic final, and it was 350 an hour. No one's ever going to let that race ever get that slow. And we've kind of seen that at all the global championships. How has the 5K and 10K changed since, I would say, maybe 2016 or so, in the way that it's run at the international stage?
Yeah, I mean, certainly races are a lot faster now, and I think that's normal with anything. I think in other sports too, you'll see NFL teams it was all about running back. You had to have a good running back and you'd run the ball a lot, and now they're passing like crazy. It's just the pendulum switches. And when I was competing, so much of it was more tactical. You had to be able to sprint. And now, it's switching to where you got to run really fast, and guys are pushing it from the bell. They're not scared to go. And same with the women. And it's, I'm sure it'll come back at some point. It might be 10 years, it might be 50 years, but, it's just cool to see the evolution of it. And like all things, I think it's a natural progression, but it's certainly different. In a way, I wish that it was run like this. You know, I think a faster race would have been really good for me in some of those championships, but it's a lot of work, you know, to lead. You know, I think there's a reason that, you know, in cycling, you know, it's maybe to more of an extreme, but it's hard to go off on a breakaway and lead everything yourself. So credit to those athletes that like to do that. But, you know, when I was competing, I was going to sit on them and I was going to outkick them at the end. And that was really how I looked at it. And Mo too.
You know, you're largely responsible for kind of bridging that gap between, you know, Americans and the East Africans and kind of raising the level of competition. So many people, you know, young runners, young athletes look up to you. Who were some people that you looked up to coming into the sport, and like who was inspiring you?
Man, you know, and I don't mean this as a knock, but, you know, American distance running, especially when I was coming up, wasn't very good. You know, it was a big accomplishment just to make it, you know, to World Championships or Olympics, and it was like if you had the standard, it's like, oh, you're going, like you're amazing. And then, you know, guys started making finals, and that was a big deal. But people I looked up to, I remember Bob Kennedy. I spent a lot of time with him when I was in high school, and he really mentored me and took me under his wing a lot, and I looked up to him a lot. I loved Abdi, which is like weird because I compete against him, but I remember going on runs with him even when I was in high school, when he would come out to Portland and Nike. And I looked up to a lot of the Africans. I loved watching Shaheen run, the steeplechaser. He was one of my favorites. Obviously Bakili. But those guys were all fast. I mean, that was what I loved, you know, and I loved fast athletes and guys that could sprint. Really, you know, technically sound runners were ones that I always looked up to.
I know it blows a lot of people's minds, but the fact that we have Kipchoge versus Bekele in the marathon 20 years after just sort of like their first ever marathon or Olympic showdown, like, does that blow even your mind too? Just sort of like these two guys were, you know, at the 2003 World Championships in Paris. On the track in the 5K. Yeah,
I remember having that issued Track and Field News, reading it, you know, being in high school and looking at those results, and the fact that they're still going strong and doing it at the highest level, you know, it speaks to those guys, you know, the longevity. And again, I'm big on mechanics, but they were so mechanically sound, both of those two, and they don't get hurt. You know, I think that consistency is such a big thing, and they, you know, Kipchoge especially, I think, is the model. He's been with more or less the same coach. You know, he's been in the same program, and his methodical year by year, month by month, day by day approach. I really believe that's a big reason why he's had such great longevity in his career.
For you, I guess, growing into the marathon, making that shift in 2016, like that was a really successful year. And, you know, coming away with the medal in Rio, I just remember sort of in that mix zone afterwards, Alberto had said, like, you know, he sees your potential as potentially like 205 in that event. And that was only just like the beginning of like the super shoes era. I mean, what did you sort of assess early on in the marathon as like, oh, like I think I could get to this level? And, you know, I know it's been tough with injuries, but like do you feel like you never reached it? Yeah,
I mean, I feel that there's a lot left that I could still run from a time perspective in a marathon. You know, for me, the balance was always about, or the emphasis was always about winning. You know, I would rather win in 210 than get fifth and run 203. That's just the athlete that I always was, and the way that I looked at racing and competing. And so, you know, when I won Chicago, it was a slow time, but that was one of the best races I've run. And, you know, I also ran a great marathon in Prague where I won. I ran 206. I certainly think that there was, you know, room for improvement from a time standpoint, but it's so hard with the marathon because so much depends on, you know, the weather and pacing, fueling. Yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes into it where you got to be really careful making something a record attempt, because it's not like the track where you have a lot of opportunities and there's a lot more things that you can control. So it's always been about competing.
What do you think, like, if you could experience one race in your whole life again, for the thrill of it, for just putting yourself back in those shoes, what's the one race? Man,
that's a real hard question. I have a lot that just they mean a lot. You know, I certainly, I think that London was probably one of the biggest ones, just because, you know, Mo was like, I lost to one of my best friends, you know, and he was really, we did so much together, and it was just such a big jump for both of us. You know, he had success at the World Championships the year before, but the Olympics are a whole nother animal. And for him to do that in his home country, I mean, I had to kind of tricked myself into thinking they were cheering for me too, even though it was all for him. But that is the loudest environment I've ever been in, you know, when he took the lead. And that rush was like nothing I can ever explain, you know. And the marathon's not really like that, because it's more you feel terrible at the end and you're just ready to be done. But yeah, I would say probably London 2012 was the one that I would go back and relive for sure.
You've got to be the biggest, most well-known athlete, at least in the track and field, that doesn't have any social media. Like,
I hate it.
Yeah, like, was that, because I'm sure like Nike's been like, have you thought about getting like an Instagram? Like,
you know,
is that just like I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, you know, after the Olympics in 2012, they had Mo and Matthew were like, you got to get back on it.
You got to.
They got to.
Yeah.
And it was kind of I did an interview with Ryan Seacrest, and I made some joke about like, oh, if you get Kim Kardashian to tweet at me or something, like I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like he
And
probably
he's like,
runs her account, and he did.
Yeah.
So I was like, shoot. So I got to get back on, and so I did it for like a little bit, but yeah, it's just not my style.
Yeah.
You know, I get it.
Oh, I think it adds to it adds to the aura. No, it's
You have
one of the
some
things.
like
I guess there's
plus
some
tweets that are still out there.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
The account never gets shut down.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even remember how to get back on it. So. Yeah. Somebody told me there was an Instagram account too. That
I think
I'm sure you got
account.
tons of fan accounts.
You got
Yeah.
but
fan
it's not.
accounts.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not-
not me. I'm not on it.
Yeah.
Strava? No.
No, I'm not on anything.
Can you imagine the Rupp Strava numbers?
Oh, it would be the most followed account.
It'd be huge.
So I guess like for you, how do you sort of, is it just watching the broadcast, watching things on YouTube? You still stay tapped into the sport, even though like you're not publicly like out there commenting on things or like, or liking posts or anything like that. You stay tapped in.
Yeah, I'll read, you know, and talk to people, and you know, my buddies will send me stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like links to that. So
Yeah.
I'll just go through Safari or whatever and read them that way. But so I see them, but yeah, I try to follow it. I mean, I love it. I think that there's such a great young crop of athletes. I think here you're seeing like a generational switch almost with some of these that athletes I think are going to be there for a really long time and have really great careers. I've been really impressed.
Yeah.
The drama and stakes of like an Olympic trials, like we've talked a lot just with some of these athletes about just sort of like the emotional just toll it takes on you just round by round and just having to get yourself up, you know, for each race. I guess, how did you do it?
I mean, I love these competitions. You know, this is what I live for. And it is a lot of pressure, but, you know, I looked at it more as an opportunity. This was what I had trained for, and I was so confident coming into these races, you know, about strategy and where I was, and I had such a clear plan of what I was going to do in every race that it was like a chance to go out there and compete, and that's what I live for. But there was certainly an element of being scared, you know, in these, because really things can just go wrong, you know, especially, you know, athletes that are expected to make a team. There's no like great result. You have great performance, but it's like, all right, you made it. Now you got to go do it at the Olympics. And I do think that this system, though, you know, as brutal as it can be, it prepares people so well, you know, to have to get it right on that one day. You're ready for it. When you go through it a couple times, when you make that jump to a World Championships or an Olympics, you are so prepared to having it ready. And I think you can get your training dialed in so much that it doesn't phase you as much if you were just selected for it.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you stoked fear in like your opponents? Like at least like on the U.S. stage, you could speak. You know,
It's terrifying out there. Yeah.
But like just credentials, performances, like it just. The work spoke for itself, that people keyed off of you in a lot of races. And I even just think of sometimes the tiniest things, like sitting on the starting line of like the marathon trials. Like what was behind that? Because everyone would blow up a little thing and be like, what is he doing?
Yeah. I mean, for the trials, honestly, like part of it was there's a clock. There was like 7 or 8 minutes left before the start. And I was like, we can't go anywhere. So I'm just going to sit down. I'm not going to stand up.
Smart.
But I also, you know, at that point, I wasn't in my own little zone, you know, and I'm going through all these scenarios that I've rehearsed in my head beforehand, where if somebody goes out fast, this is what I'm going to do. If it goes out slow, this is where I'm going to be. Where am I going to be in the pack? Like all those scenarios are the things that are running through my mind in a situation like that. And I'm not really worried about what anybody else is doing. You know, it's all about me. And that's one of the things, you know, from a young age that Alberto and the coaches that I, you know, worked with, they all preach that. You know, you have to be aware of what's going on, but ultimately I can't control what my competition is doing. So I have to be ready, and I have to know what I'm going to do, because when I get into a race, I just want to be reacting. I don't want to be thinking, oh, do I go right now? Do I sit back? Am I where I need to be? You know, even that mental energy is draining physically, I believe, too. And, you know, whenever I went out to compete, especially at 10K or 5K, I never wanted to have a race that I just, you know, didn't use as another opportunity to kind of cement in my competitors, like, I'm always ready to go. I'm always going to be there. Because there are certainly a lot of days where I didn't feel good when I was racing, but, you know, it never hurts having that kind of, I don't know, just fear kind of built up from consistent performances, and you never let it show when you're not feeling good. Because all great athletes will have off days. Nobody feels great every time they go out to race, but it's the ones that can stay as close to their peak performance when they're not feeling good. Those are the ones that end up being great. But certainly those mental things, you know, and it accumulates over the course of years. It certainly adds up.
I mean, just to play off that, like, he was very scary to race. Well, I mean, obviously his resume speaks for itself, but then he was like very definition of locked in before the races, not talking to people, not you know, there's other people who are really kind of joking around and play, like, there was no joke. We're not joking around. Yeah. We're taking, like,
I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, I'll jog with you, but yeah, like, I was really.
We're not chatting on the warm up.
Was that hard with this guy?
Yeah. No. Well, Matthew, I would say more than anything, but he'd give me the laugh every once in a while. Yeah. That's just who he is.
You got it was tough to get Galen to laugh on a workout day, or you're not getting race day. See it, forget about it.
Yeah.
But he was incredibly intimidating to race against. It all adds up. I mean, we talked about how good your resume is, and you've been doing it for so long. You know, what is, like, because you could retire and have a great broadcast and coaching, like, what is it that's driving you to still be at it? Because it's incredibly tough to be at the top like you've been for so long. Is it you still want to make teams? Is it that you want to run faster? Like, what is still driving?
Yeah, I mean, I still think that I can be competitive at a world level. You know, I still think I can run a PR. You know, when I've been healthy and my body feels good, I've run great. Yeah. And it's just been, you know, it's weird because it's coincided with me being a little bit older, but this is the first time I've really kind of been in an injury cycle. Yeah. And I get it. You know, one of the great things that I was blessed with is, like, I had a lot of things come up, but they were always able to be managed really well, and I was able to work through them, and it never kind of translated into injury on injury on injury. And unfortunately, that's been the case for me the last couple of years. Yeah. But for me, it's always been about excellence. You know, that I would say, you know, bro, I remember he gave me this little flag that he had that just said the pursuit of excellence. And I had that in my apartment here in Eugene when I was in college. And that's what it's always been about for me, is just excellence. And I still feel that I have more to give. And, you know, if I feel like I wasn't going to be competitive, or, you know, if I knew, everybody says when you know, you know. Yeah. And I truly, in my heart, don't think that that's the case right now. So I just have to get healthy. But that's what drives me every day, is to still get the most out of myself and make sure that, you know, just because you're older doesn't mean you do things differently, but it's not a bad thing. Yeah. You know, you just have to make adjustments in training, because I can't do the same things that I could do as far as recovering from a hard workout that I could when I was 25 years old. Yeah. But I can still hit those workouts. It just maybe need a little more rest. But at the same time, my cardiovascular system is so much more developed being 38 now than 25. And that's a huge advantage. So it's just the philosophies, I would say, and things that I need to do in training have shifted, but I absolutely think that I still have a lot more to give in the marathon.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're still active and, like, you know, you are pursuing, like, future teams and stuff, but have you ever sort of had the thought of, like, what is that storybook ending that you have for yourself in your career? Because, you know, we look at someone like Matthew, like, if this is it for him, right? Like, this probably isn't how he envisioned it. Going to the Olympics would have been amazing. Same thing with someone like Evan, who I think, like, Evan Jager might continue going, but for him, the storybook is, like, he fell in Paris in that Diamond League, and, like, getting back the chance to go to the Olympics in Paris to run, you know, one last games would have been perfect. Have you thought of, like, hey, like, you know, we know where these world championships are. Like, does Tokyo hold any sort of weight, or whatever it might be for you?
I mean, I think just getting back to winning and knowing that I left everything out there. that would be the best thing for me. You know, I would love to be able to compete in LA. You know, I would say that's my goal. You know, to have an Olympics in your home country, I think would just be unbelievable. And that's really what I would love to target. I don't think there's any reason that I can't do it. And after that, you know, we'll see how my body's hanging in there. But there's no doubt in my mind that that's what I want to keep doing. And this really left a bitter taste in my mouth this past trials. But it's been good. You know, that's life. You know, you can't look back on regret. You know, nobody's trajectory is ever perfect, and in a lot of ways, you know, it's really lit a fire under me, and you know, got a lot of hunger back having that defeat. And you know, it's been so frustrating dealing with all these injuries, but I've learned so much just about, you know, movement and your body, and I'm really passionate about all that stuff. So it's hopefully that experience, even though it sucks to go through, is going to make me a better person, a better athlete going forward.
And I think one other thing is, like, I just hearing you sort of like, all right, we're in this for another 4 more years. The New York Times put out this article a couple months back about just sort of like, this applies to everyone who's ever run a marathon, is a significant other involved in that sort of relationship and the sacrifices that they have to make. They're the ones cooking like just tons of carbs, and then that they also have to eat. They're the ones who have to stay home with the kids or whatever it is for 3+ hours on a long run day. And, you know, for you and your wife and your kids, like, is that an easy conversation to have? Like, hey, 4 more years of this, and you know, I guess what goes into that decision making?
I mean, it's easy in the sense that, like,
your job.
I lucked out, and I have the most supportive wife and family I could ever ask for. I mean, she has never once doubted me, never once thought, oh, maybe you should think about doing this. She is all in just as much as I'm all in, and that has meant the world to me. You know, it's definitely not been easy on her. She has sacrificed, I think I've said it before, but really she sacrificed everything, her own personal goals, you know, her own life to really fully support me. And that's never lost on me. You know, she's an amazing mom, and she takes the brunt of dealing with all our kids. You know, I've got 4 kids, and it's busy. It's hectic at our house. And she handles that with a smile. You know, she never complains, and she's like, you do what you need to do. But there have definitely been times where I felt guilty where, you know, I rarely woke up with my kids when they were babies at night, and, you know, she's dealing on very little sleep, and she still is telling me, go take a nap for 2 hours in the afternoon. I'll watch the kids. I mean, that's just how selfless she is. And, you know, for me, that's been really inspiring. Just when I train, I know, like, she's giving everything. She's giving more than everything to help me follow my own selfish dreams and my goals. And, that's just been such a driving force for me to always make sure that I'm doing everything I can to hold up my end of the deal and be the best athlete that I can be. But it is really hard on your family. I missed a lot of stuff with my kids already. So I really try to cherish every moment I have with them. But, you know, it is my job, and, you know, I'm really lucky and fortunate to have such a special job, but it's certainly a balance for sure.
All right. Favorite and least favorite thing about being a professional runner?
I mean, my favorite thing is just being able to do it. Like, I get paid, I get tons of free shoes and free Nike gear. Like, I've always been a Nike head my whole life, and that has been, like, it's like the greatest perk of my job. You know, like, Kira still makes fun of me when I get excited that I get a new pair of shoes, or she's like, you don't need another pair of shoes.
Do you have a
like,
1 in, 1 out rule, or, like, is it hard?
Right now, I do have kind of a 1 in, 1 out. I've kind of reached my capacity, I think, because for a while I was going 1 to stock, 1 to rock, and so that added up quick. And then, yeah, so I've been getting rid of them slowly to people over the years, like friends of mine and stuff like that. But I'm a sneakerhead at heart.
What are, like, the most cherished ones in the collection?
Most cherished ones. I mean, my most cherished ones would be all the Oregon Jordans that I have. You know, I think I've got 3s, 4s, 5s, 14s. Maybe one other one. I
Do you
can't
get all
remember,
the? Do you get the? I'm sure they send you a pair.
Not
every
all
year.
of them, no. But I'd certainly get a few. They take good care of me.
Yeah.
And I've always been like, I don't know. I love Air Maxes. You know, the 90s, 95s, 97s, Air Force Ones, so yeah. I've got some good ones.
Yeah.
All right. So least favorite thing.
Least favorite thing is just travel. Like, I'm really a homebody. Like, even going to altitude camp was always hard for me. Like, I hated being away from home. Yeah, just missing things. You know. Sometimes, you know, when buddies of mine would be like, oh, I got the weekend off, and you still have to train, you know, that's a hard thing, because it is like a 365-day-a-year job. Like, I would take 2 weeks off after the, after the spring and then after the fall, whether it was a marathon or track. And that was like my time to have fun and go crazy. But you miss a lot of things because you always have to make sure you get your training in. I mean, there's no shortcuts around that. And, the second I think you start saying, oh, it's okay if I take a day off here or there, I mean, you just never want to let that seep into your mentality. Yeah. So that's the hardest thing, I would say, for sure.
Best meet atmosphere you've ever been to?
Best meet atmosphere is right here, Hayward Field. I don't really have a ton of experience running in the new stadium.
I was gonna say, have you run in the new stadium?
I ran the trials here in 2021. Yeah. Which again didn't go great, but I love the old stadium. To me, running past those East grandstands was one of my favorite things in the world. Doing strides on the backstretch. Yeah, you hear people pounding on the wood and the footsteps, and I just missed you. You would hear that roar. Yeah, almost like a tiger roar or something at the Masters. When
it was
someone
louder.
had a great throw, or someone was kicking. Yeah. That was really cool, I thought. But I love the new stadium too. Yeah. Nothing beats Hayward.
Yeah. Best road race, I guess, experience.
Best road race would have to be Chicago. I love the people there. Yeah, I mean, my dad's from there, and so I have a deep connection with the city there. And I also love Boston. That was one of the most fun running weekends I'd ever been a part of when I went over there. I would love to go back there. But the fact that the history of it, the fact you're running point to point, and it's like 5 or 6 people deep the whole way of the course. They let the Red Sox out, so you get those stadium fans coming, and it's just a really special atmosphere. I love Boston. Yeah.
One fun thing, a stat that I guess was out there when I think Meb retired was number of miles he's run in his career, because he's probably kept track of it in some way, shape, or form, and someone calculated how many times around the world that is, or so. I'm curious, just random numbers. How many miles do you think you've estimated in the Nike Woods or the Michael Johnson track on the Nike campus?
A lot. I mean, that's where I train almost every day, and I'm big on soft surfaces. I really avoided concrete like the plague, so I would loop around, and I never had a problem doing it. I mean, I don't know if I could estimate it. I can tell you one time, I ran, I think 21 miles just around the grass soccer fields. So just doing laps around there. Yeah.
I remember that. I remember they were for long runs. It would be, we'd start on the grass loop, and we'd get
sometimes we never left.
That's what that was. I was like, guys, we got to get off here. And there was but there was no plan to ever leave the grass. I was like, we could at least go on the wood chip loop or the woods. But no, you were not you guys would log some serious miles just doing laps on the turf, laps on the grass.
I loved it. Yeah. I still love it. I don't know what. Yeah. I love running on treadmills too, which I know a lot of people think that's the worst thing in the world, but it's never bothered me.
Longest amount of time on a treadmill?
Longest time on a treadmill. I mean, I've definitely run 26 miles on a treadmill before in one go. Yeah, I do 24-mile runs on a treadmill regularly.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Music or no music?
I'll sometimes listen to music, or I have TV on. I'm not just staring at a wall with nothing. I'm not that crazy, but close.
All right, Galen. Well, we appreciate you stopping by, and looking forward to and excited that you said the comeback is already back. Back to running, and so we're looking forward to seeing what races you might have in store this fall, and the fact that you've got unfinished business in the marathon, so that's exciting. And thanks for coming by. And I think people are going to walk away from this thing being like, that he needs to be a broadcaster when the running thing's over.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah. It's been fun.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we'll be right back with more guests. We've got just a loaded slate of people, so I don't even know who's waiting downstairs, but I'm excited. And so stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
Dyer.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Another day of CITIUS MAG Live, and we are here with, I love to always say that we got GOATs here. That's only who we bring up on the show. Freddie Crittenden. The accolades are through the roof, and they're just adding on
Thank you.
after what we just saw here.
Yeah.
World Championship finalist, 4th place at Worlds last year. World Relays, which I completely forgot. World Relays champion, Pan American Games silver medalist, World or NACAC champion, right? Number 13 all time now in the hurdles.
You getting it all right now.
Like, come on, 12.93. Listen, Olympian at this point.
Yeah.
Freddie Crittenden. Thank you for coming on.
And how old is you?
I'm 29.
Dang, you already did all that?
Yeah.
Dang, you got about like 5 more years, man.
Yep, that's the plan.
Better
Shit,
lock
that's the
in.
plan.
But lock in.
This
Yeah.
is only the first Olympic team. You might got a
This
couple
is only
more.
the first. Yeah.
He got a
Just the
couple
first.
more.
Yep.
Well, I mean, all right, so you got onto the Olympic team. What was it like waking up knowing that you're an Olympian?
To be honest, people have been asking me this. I really woke up yesterday morning, the first time to be able to say like, oh, I'm a future Olympian, and my body was feeling like, okay, you still got to get ready to race. You still got to get ready. But like, I had to just take a deep breath and like really just soak it all in. I think it soaked in a little bit today. I did a little 20-minute run and playing some J. Cole from way back when I was on the grind. There's a song called Dollar and Dream 3.
Yeah, throwback.
And I'm sitting here running, crying.
You was crying during your
I was
run?
rapping, crying. Like,
Nah,
yeah,
bro.
I was going through it this morning, but it's been a beautiful experience processing it all. Yeah.
Nice. And so what was the preparation like coming to an Olympic Games, right? You got to the world team last year, made it to Budapest, but I'm sure there's like a different pressure coming to an Olympic trials where it's like everything is on the line at this point.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was one of those like this could potentially be my last one if it doesn't go as well as I hope it goes. Like, and if I don't strike gold, if I don't like make some fire stuff happen, like this could potentially be my last one. So I came in here like just wanted to have as much fun as I can, really capitalize on my experience, to just appreciate being here. Like, if this gonna be my last one, I'm gonna make something crazy happen. You know,
got no choice.
Yeah,
okay?
so I just came here with the everything or nothing mindset, but also like soak it all in. Like, I remember right before the final went off, I just like looked around and was like, this is what I live for, you know, and I just wanted to go out there and just do my best, you know.
And
Nice.
your best is what you did.
Yeah.
The little internet cut.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he did it. Now look, that was such like an amazing like final fire race. Like Cordell was at home. Like, he gonna be like that home. Like, he got races. Like,
Shout out to you, Cordell. Shout out to Cordell, dog.
He got races and stuff. He's like, you know what? Like, I've been going through like some like physical stuff. Like, it's a whole bunch of other stuff that he was going through. So he was like, okay, I can't be mad at like running 13-0 and like getting 4th place. Like, that's good for me and like what I had going on. I'm like, okay, cool. But then I want to get into the conversation that people was talking about in terms of like Grant. And a lot of people, when they were talking about Grant, they're like, okay, Grant could get the world record. Like, we're hoping that he gets it, yada, yada, yada. And then I remember also seeing another tweet that was like, listen, when somebody puts pressure on Grant start to crumble a little bit. And I'm like, don't be talking about my homeboy like that. don't be doing that. But look, you know what you did? You gave that boy some pressure.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? 2 beautiful things happened. He almost broke the world record, and then you finally went under 13 seconds.
Yeah.
And I told you off camera I was pissed because you would have did it in the semifinal, but you want to be a happy frog and hop across the line.
Happy
Lock
frog
in.
is crazy.
I was to be honest, I was telling my teammates and my coach about that. Like, I came across that last hurdle and like I just felt a rush of emotion. Like I was just like, we in this thing. Like, I don't even I wasn't even thinking run through the line. It was just like, let's get out here and compete. You know what I mean? Like, I was just overtaken with emotion. But
I said a dangerous person is a person who ain't got nothing to lose and got everything to gain.
Yeah,
And you was that person because
yeah.
it happened last year. And what's crazy is because when me and Jasmine was talking to you last year in Budapest, you just like, y'all, like, this been in the making. Like, we've been working for this one. We've been grinding. Like, I know everybody been paying attention to everybody else, but like, hey,
I'm
here.
working.
Like, I know we deep, but like, I'm in the deepness too. And then you made the team last year, ended up making the final, just missed the podium.
By a
But
little
look,
bit. By a little bit.
literally just this much. But it's okay. It's okay because now you're an Olympian. You're going to Paris.
Yep.
And then, like I said, that race was just like so amazing to watch because yes, Grant got out, but like you was like, I'm not stop letting you get away from me. And honestly, I just feel like if you continue to race like that and just continue to like put it down, I mean, shoot, where y'all 12-8 at?
Yeah.
Come on, like, let's really talk about it for real. I feel like you have the opportunity to do something like great. And like I said, the way that you like simultaneously like push Grant to do something like historical, but then also push yourself to like somewhere that I don't know, maybe you didn't see yourself getting to like a couple years ago. I just think it's 10 out of 10. Amazing.
And to be honest, talking about that 12-8, like first off, shout out to Grant Holloway. You know, he has been trailblazing this sport, especially in America. Like he has been the trailblazer for setting the standard, raising the heights, elevating the competition. Like if you want to see greatness, he is the epitome of that.
You ain't got no choice.
And another thing with hurdles, like if you come to a meet and you're not ready to give your A game, like somebody's gonna catch you slipping. So we're all working on our weaknesses. I know Grant, obviously with the pressure, like you've seen some people overtake him in the end of it. He didn't have that issue this weekend. He was running through the line every single time. You can't run 12-8 without closing.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So just watching that and being able to feed off that, like he's elevated the game, and that's made everyone come ready to like do their best, like minimize their weaknesses, come here and just ball out, you know. So shout out to Grant. I'm super excited to be alongside him in the Olympics this year, and we got more work to do. We got one more goal to achieve in the Paris Olympic Games.
Well, like we said, like you're number 13 all time. Like that ain't.
Look,
ain't little, bro.
I was looking at some of these names. Colin Jackson in the same realm. Rondra Kingdom, Alan Johnson, right? Ronaldo Nehemiah. Like you in that same realm as like these historical. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you one of the ones?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you know.
I know.
For sure.
Yep.
Nice. And so let's dive a little bit back, because you were telling us, especially in the mix zone after the race, right? Like the journey to get here overall over the past couple years, it's been up and down. It's been some struggles, right? What has it been like to go through all the things, but talking about like being unsponsored, right? Working a job, but being able to like still persevere, still train to be able to get to a point like this?
I definitely had my moments where I've had to do a lot of learning. I think with this sport particularly, you have to get to a point where you just play the cards you're dealt. You know, if you sit there and wallow in the misfortune or get upset that you don't have this, you don't have that, like that's not gonna do anything but make everything more heavy for you. So I really had to get to a point where it's like, okay, Freddie, you put yourself in this situation. You know, if you really want it that bad, shut up and make it work. You know, like do everything you possibly can, maximize resources, communicate with people, pull strings, work your butt off, you know, do what you can so that this can be enjoyable for you, you know, so that you can enjoy the process, you can enjoy the privilege of being able to compete at a high level. And if you put all the work in, it'll pay off. You know, just have that mentality, just keep working, and the time will come, you know. So I think a big part of it was, okay, if I decide I want to do this, I need to have other things in place to allow me the stability to do it. And that's where the jobs and stuff came in. I definitely went through a long journey of figuring out how that best works with my training schedule and travel schedule and working with companies, letting them know, like, I'm not like a regular person. Like I'm not just trying to work a little bit. Like, I'm actually trying to make an Olympic team. So, like, I may need a little bit more flexibility than your average employee or somebody that you're hiring, because, like, I'm trying to do this as well. Can you work with me or can you not, you know? And more times than not, people have been like, that is an amazing thing that you're doing, and we want to help you, you know? And understanding that people want to be a part of the journey with me has allowed me to, like, lock in, build relationships with them, contribute what I can contribute, but also make sure I'm taking care of myself and I'm performing and training and at my track meets and just kind of chiseling away at it, you know? And just having that whole process and figuring it out, like, it's allowed me to get to this point.
So, you know, you're 29 and this is your first Olympic team. Like, you know, with the way that track and field moving, I mean, Quincy Wilson, he's 16 years old. He was this close to making it to Paris. Like, I think sometimes that can get very discouraging. Like when you see like the 12-year-olds running like so much faster than you and all that other stuff. So like, what have you been doing to kind of like persevere, like keep the noise out and still be like, okay, yes, I might have been in the game for a long time, and not even like related to like age, really, for real. It's just like I've been working at this goal for I don't know how long. and now I finally have the opportunity to like hopefully like make something shake. Like what have you told yourself, or like what have you done, or like who have you kept around you to make you be like, okay, fine, like screw how long everybody else has been doing this, like I'm gonna focus on myself and I'm gonna make this work.
So when I was in college, obviously we have our idols and we have people that we look up to and that we try to mimic. And when I was in college, there weren't any freshmen in college running 13-1. I mean, besides Devin Allen. But there wasn't a lot of very young athletes performing at a high level. So when I was really in the thick of it, a lot of the faster people were peaking at their older years, 29, 30, 31, 32 type of thing. So it was just like all the time and energy, effort, training, sacrifice that I'm putting in, it will pay off eventually. And like obviously the birth of superstars at a young age kind of throws a monkey wrench into that a little bit. But it's like at the same time, all the work that I put in it's not gonna go for naught, you know. So it was just like, just keep doing what I'm doing, trusting the journey, trusting the process. Don't let distractions or what other people are doing keep me from doing what I want to do, keep me from doing what I love to do. Yeah. And just the way my mind, I'm like, all my friends and family, they know me as like I'm a reckless optimist. So like I'm gonna say literally,
listen,
the best or nothing, and that's it. So
I mean, I said USA was sweeping in the women's 100 because I'm a reckless optimist, and I have been getting cussed out on Twitter all week. I still stand by what I said, but as you know, like I'm definitely in the same boat as like what you're talking about, and to continue like on this conversation, you know, I see a lot of times like on social media and they're talking about like really great and superstar athletes, and I mean like obviously you're one of them, you're number 13 all time, but when people have these conversations, they're saying things like, well, no, like you just have to be athletically gifted and like have all of like these things, and if you don't have them, then like you're never gonna be great. But like when I'm listening to you talk, you're like, you know what, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but what I do know is that people who do work hard like are always gonna have their opportunity and like chance to shine. So like I just want you to like talk a little bit more about that. Like, do you believe that you have to be like some crazy athletically gifted person to be able to make Olympic teams like obviously you're doing now?
Not at all. I'm definitely the way my brain is set up, like I love seeing the fruit of my labor produce results. Like I love the more hours I spend doing XYZ, the more it improves. And that's literally track and field. Yeah. The more time, energy, effort, sacrifice, treatment, water, hydration, nutrition, the more you put into it, the more that you get out. And I think reckless optimism is seeping in. Like, I think anybody has the ability to do anything. Like, if you want to learn how to sing, like Usher, if you put the time, effort, energy, years, dedication.
Not Usher.
I mean, obviously,
not even reckless optimist, but it's like, okay, we all could be singing like Usher.
Okay, maybe there's a time slot window in there. Like you have to start at a certain.
We all about to be in Vegas.
Okay, all right, maybe not.
Have a whole
maybe not. I just feel like if you feel like you're called to do it and you dedicate yourself to do it, you can do it at a high level.
Absolutely,
you can do it at a high level. If you really, really want it and it's on your heart. One, I don't think you just, I want to sing. Like, if you just want to sing, like, randomly, then it's like, you really don't want to do it. You just like the idea. But if it's something that's on your heart, like, if you feel... Nobody can be Beyonce. Nobody can be Beyonce. That's different. I'm still...
I thought we was a reckless optimist.
I got a little bit of realism in there, too.
Oh, here you go. He's not really bad at it.
Tiny bit of realism.
No, but I feel you, right? It's like you put your mind to it, right? Don't limit yourself. Make sure that you can, really try and work for your dreams. And you're a testament to it, right? You've been through so much, right? You haven't seen at least the early success that some other athletes have been able to, but you were able to focus in and say, okay, these little things are going to get me to where I need to be. Right? So you're really a testament to it. Yeah. And I want to dive back to, was it 2021? You were talking about you almost quit.
Ooh.
Like, what? Talk a little bit about that.
Man, okay, so, So I'm gonna try to give the quick version of this. 2020, obviously COVID shut down everything. We still train. We're at a soccer complex in Phoenix, training the whole time. I got my first series of races in August, so I just went overseas. And I had meets from August till the second week of September. So I was overseas for 6 weeks. And the races were okay. I mean, granted, we did all this training the past 8 months with no lifting, really no rehab, just kind of like figuring it out, as most people that dealt with COVID did the same thing. And my last race in Doha, it was a Doha Diamond League It was literally the last rep before I went out there. I went to hurdle my last rep, pushed off my takeoff leg, hamstring tweaked, landed on my lead leg, other hamstring tweaked.
What?
Fell, rolled. It was bad. It was bad. It was really bad. And then coming off of that, I came back and tried to it was the end of the season, obviously, but I tried to get a bunch of rehab, get a bunch of help, figure it out. But I was hurt from September 12th, 2020 until 2 weeks before Olympic trials.
Wow.
In was it July 2021?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that whole process of just coming to practice every single day and I'm still not ready to jog. I'm still not ready to skip. I still can't do this, do that. Setbacks. You get a little healthy and then something else happens because if you get hurt in one hamstring, your left hamstring, your right leg compensates. Mm-hmm. So dealing with compensation on both sides.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
It was very hard to just get healthy, and that was hard too because COVID destroyed the financial ecosystem of track and field anyway. Mm-hmm. So then 2021, I was hurt. So I wasn't making money at meets. I wasn't traveling. I really didn't have a stable job because I felt I had a really good year 2019. So I was like, okay, this will be a year where I can make some more money in track and field. 2019 was my biggest year, so I was dependent on 2020 to be more stable. But that all shut down. So I wasn't really looking for jobs or anything. So 2021 came, I didn't have any money. I was hurt. I couldn't pay for anything. Literally paying for massage and therapy with the credit card that was almost maxed out because I'm just trying to make it work, Mm-hmm. So coming to Olympic trials 2021, my second race since a double hamstring injury, and I don't know how I made it through prelims. And then I ran even slower in semi, but once I crossed that line in semis, I knelt down, kissed the track. It's been a beautiful journey. Thank you, track and field. And I'll see you later. I don't think I can do this anymore. I can't sustain myself. I'm trying to have a stable life, and I don't think it's gonna work. It was very emotional, very difficult thing. A little side note: before I went, my wife, she knew I was in a very low spot. She hit up all my family and friends and made a little book. They all sent me.
Stop.
Yeah, she
No, that's so
very
cute.
It's about to make me cry.
I'm about to cry right now too. A very emotional book, just saying no matter what happens, we love you, we care about you. We're gonna figure this out together, And that was when I knew I was gonna marry her. But yeah, that was a little side note.
Now, can we please?
That's when I knew I was gonna marry her.
Twitter,
But it was also just a big moment where maybe this is it, And I did tell myself that day too, I don't think I'm gonna make it through this, but if I ever make it through this, there is nothing in this sport that I cannot achieve after this, And thankfully with my coach and my teammates and my wife, I was able to figure some stuff out and get some stability, find a job with my nonprofit G Road, and just do a whole bunch of figuring out, stabilize my life outside track, and then come back. And 2022, I had a PB, ran 13 flat, and it's just been up since then. Yeah. But it was a very, very low point, and I felt like track wasn't loving me like I was loving it, and I was ready to be done, And that's something that every athlete has their own story, every athlete got to a point where it's maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I'm not called to do this. Maybe this isn't my dream or my passion. I don't know, just going through that, is very motivational to be in a place like this, where I thought I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be on an Olympic team because I thought I was going to be done at that point. So that's kind of how that story was, and it's amazing being able to tell it on the other side of it. So,
what was the moment or the situation or the thought that in all of that situation where you were okay, I'm actually gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep pushing?
So that was the year, and I've been telling people this as well. The beauty in that is having my teammates. That was the year one of my best friends, David King, made the Olympic team for his first time.
Yeah.
And being able to be there and watch him do that, train with him, support him in his training, and just watching all of them enjoy it and still have that love for it. I came to realize, okay, I still do love this. I can still push my way through this. Maybe I don't know how it looks. Maybe this is just a really bad year, you know. I guess I was still kind of young. What was that 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I was 26. So I feel like I wasn't really too old to be continuing on. So I just was kind of like, I'm not really at a point where I can smoothly transition out. So like, let me give it a little bit more. You know, I love it. My teammates are here. Like, they're supporting me, encouraging me through it. And I still got a little bit more in the tank. So let me keep trying. Yeah. But it was definitely a half step. Like, I mean, I guess like, well, I mean,
ain't got no choice, man. Yeah. When the homies start winning, you gotta start winning too. So.
And that's the beauty of teammates. They just hold you up when you're down and make you keep fighting for it. You know, so. Yeah.
There we go. Well, now it's the dream. Medal around your neck.
Yep.
You're like headed to Paris. I mean, what's the expectations, or what are you even looking forward to in Paris? Of course, you got the hurdles. Of course, you want to get on that podium. But what's like kind of just overall?
Just really soaking in the experience, like the energy of it, the magicalness.
The magicalness.
It is a word now. It is a word now. I could have just said magic. I could have just said magic of it.
Okay.
Right? You try to be extra.
You over here.
It's just one of those things. Like I always say, coming to Eugene is just such a magical place, and it's just like it's just the air.
Just
like
expensive.
You just being.
Costs an arm and a leg to get here, though.
It do. But I think it's the experiences that happen on the track. You know, like obviously sometimes it's very hard, but also sometimes it's very like life-changing to be in the moment and have something amazing happen, you know, and that is what the Olympics is to me. No matter what happens, no matter how it transpires, like, I'm gonna be around amazing people that have done amazing things. I'm gonna see the best of the best, not even in just my sport, and in all Olympic sports, Paralympic sports. So like, I'm just excited to be in that space and to just soak it all in, have fun, enjoy, get my Olympic tattoo. You know what I mean? Just like just all of the things. Like I'm just excited to be in that space. You know, more than anything.
And you got another baby on the way, right?
My first baby.
Oh, that's your first. My bad. My bad.
No, it's all good. It's all good. There's a lot of athletes. I'm sure you're not just like, I know every single thing about. No, it's a lot going on. It's my first child. Yep.
Nice. Yep. Man, that is big. That is big.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So much. I could only imagine. It's just so much joy that's gonna be. Coming over.
I'm like daydreaming about it right now. 3 weeks. 3 weeks tomorrow.
3 weeks to the baby.
3 weeks. 3 weeks till the baby gets here tomorrow.
I could babysit.
You gonna come to Phoenix?
Yes, I babysit the baby. I promise.
Well, to be honest, you have to ask my wife.
It's okay.
I would be cool with it. I'm gonna talk to her.
I'm gonna talk to her. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna take care of that.
That's funny. Yeah.
And so, what is it gonna take for you? You just dropped your personal best by like a lot, right? You're talking about 7/700ths of a second. You getting into the 12.8 range potentially, right? And you're on a roll between since 2022, right? Over the past 2 years. What's it going to take to really get down into those 12.8s? Like on a technical sense, what are some things you might need to work on?
Shoot, I could have did it this weekend.
That's true. That's actually true.
I could have done it this weekend.
My
training has shown me that I'm ready to break the world record. I'm ready right now. Like,
Dang.
if I have the right day,
I like that.
the right wind,
You like, hold on, hit the thing.
the right
like,
wind meters.
You like the fourth person I done heard say that. So honestly, I'm gonna need all of y'all to put that world record somewhere where y'all ain't gonna be. It's gotta get to the point to where can't none of the rest of y'all touch it. Like, y'all just get so good. It's just so far down the line that it's like, damn, we can't even get back to that point.
Yeah. I mean, it's something like 12.6. Is that possible? Like in a perfect race? Because if we're talking about, Erriyon,
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what the ceiling is. I just know 12.8 is within range for me.
Yeah.
12.8 is within range. Yeah.
There you go. That should be
You're
right.
talking about 12.6.
I mean, listen.
You the one who said you was the optimist. So why when we
You're right. Yeah, let's go 12 flat. Let's go 12 flat in this thing.
I mean, shoot, if you want to, who's stopping
There's
you?
a little bit of realism in
No,
that.
of course. I guess I think of it because, like, when Aries, he ran 12.80, and that was like a big drop. And people are capable of getting very technical, like breaking things down. Maybe 12.6 is like little up there, but you never know. But I'm also curious, just speaking of wind, where y'all got a 2.0 wind, like quote unquote perfect, but is that good for the hurdles? Because we hear about getting a big wind maybe gets you to run up on the hurdles, but
I think it's a rhythm thing. I do think it depends. Obviously, if you're going so fast, your rhythm in between the faster you're going, the faster your rhythm is in between. So if you can manage that rhythm with the wind pushing at your back and you can go with it and navigate the hurdles cleanly, efficiently, then I think it's fine. You know, like I think athletes run into an issue when their rhythm in between the 3 steps can't keep up with the wind pushing them, and they're slowly getting closer and closer to the hurdle. Then they hit one and they're thrown off because the wind is pushing at their back. They're trying to push forward and the hurdle is just, they don't have enough space to clear the hurdle. So like if you can maintain that rhythm, it's fine. But if not, then you can really run into some trouble and you can really crash out and not stick the landing. So, yeah.
Boom. We're going to get that perfect wind. We're going to get you into those 12.8s. We're going to get you 12.79 might be coming.
He's going to have a wind machine. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
I got the weather machine on the way to
Have y'all
Paris.
seen that Justin Gatlin video?
Out in Japan where it's like they got the giant wind turbine.
Literally every 10 meters, and he just like, going.
I'm just
Right?
saying.
See, that will get you to
Blah.
12.6.
Yeah, it's true.
saying.
Yeah.
Nah. Well, Freddie, really appreciate you.
Of course.
Heading over to Paris.
Of course.
Newly minted Olympian.
Yes, we are. Yeah. Oui.
Always appreciate you, man. And yeah, thanks so much for coming through.
All right, rendezvous. What did Grant say? Rendezvous at Paris? Rendezvous at Paris?
I don't know.
I think let's meet
I
up.
don't know what that
rendezvous.
was. I don't know what he be talking about at the
Grant said
time.
rendezvous in Paris. That's what he said.
There we go.
Okay,
See
well,
y'all
I
in
guess we going to Paris.
There we go. Freddie Crittenden, everyone. Stay tuned. We got a couple more people come up. Always appreciate y'all.
All right, see y'all later.
All right.
All right. Breaking news. We are back here at CITIUS MAG live from Eugene with the 5-time world champion,
Dang.
2-time Olympian, Olympic silver medalist Grant Holloway in the house.
Boom, 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 boom. Hit the stream deck button.
Yeah. Headed back to the Olympic Games. I feel like this is just like business trip. Like you have to check the box at the Olympic trials.
Absolutely. This trial, like, on the docket when you're looking at schedules, you put all the diamond leagues, you put all the gold meets, like for Americans, like this is a big meet because only 3 of us can go. It's not like world champs where previous world champions get to buy.
Bring another person.
Only 3 people get to go. I mean, unfortunate, like we have people in the top 5, top 6 in almost all the events, but we gotta leave people at the house. So I think that just shows the depth that we have. I think it started off in the 100. You know, we're leaving Christian at home. Then you go to women's 200, you're leaving Carrie at home. You know, it just shows the depth that we have, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with that drama.
Nah,
Yeah.
I think the most exciting part about the U.S. trials is that you wasn't allowed to duck this time. Like you,
Yeah, that's
you
what I'm
had to,
saying.
Oh,
you
yeah,
had to
it's
get on
true.
the line. There was no, I'm the 10-time world champion. I get to do what I want. I'm gonna race one time and I'm gonna go home, be in the stands. Like you don't understand how confused I was in 2022 when like I'm upstairs. I see Tamari, grandmama, cool. I'm looking at the track. You standing next to me. I'm like, ain't you supposed to be down there?
So I think every year I help pay somebody's mortgage. At the end of the day, I really do help pay somebody's mortgage. I mean, like, Daniel reaped the benefits of it. Trey Cunningham reaped the benefits of it. It's like, I don't have to run. Think of it like this. I have more world titles than I have USA titles.
It's really funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
America is the only place where you can do something like that.
Was it different for you? I mean, it's in like 5 USA championships. This is only the second time you've had to go through all 3 rounds.
No, it's not different. I mean, when you mentally, yes. So, excuse me. Mentally, when you're going into it, yes. But like when you gotta do the rounds and you've been to World Championships and you've been to Olympic Games, you know, you have that experience. You know what it feels like to run. Now, obviously, this time I don't know who the hell made the schedule this, but we have 5 days to run 3 rounds of hurdles.
I mean, Freddie said it's supposed to be the same in Paris, though.
Well, look like I don't know who the hell made the schedule then. We're gonna have 5 days to run 3 rounds of hurdles. So I think at that point, like you tell yourself, like, all right, for me, each round's a final. Like I don't care. I have a full day to recover. Like I'm usually used to going over 12, 13 hurdles at practice in 110-degree weather, and then doubling back 20 minutes and doing it again. Like I'm used to the rounds. I'm used to putting my body like, all right, we're gonna do it hard. No diddy. Pass it off again and then do it again.
out.
No, I didn't even mean that one either. I didn't mean that one either. But like, you know, you just start training your body like that. And then this weekend, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I was the only person to run sub 13 in all 3 rounds.
All 3 rounds.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
That might have been a record.
Okay, we get it.
Maybe.
You cool.
But
I
yeah.
didn't even say I was cool. I'm just making
we
sure.
Get it, bro.
Like,
We
I'm
get
the
it. We
first
get it.
person ever. You know what I mean?
I don't want to get on the show and start running at the side of my neck and then
Nah.
you know, like you said, the Jamaican community comes after you and
Hey,
then you
listen,
like you told them
I mean,
that.
Nah, you can take the cyberbullying. I don't want that shit no more.
All right, so it was 12.92, 12.96, 12.86. 12.86 hitting a hurdle at hurdle 8.
Yeah, that was mad. I already know what you're gonna ask me. Was that the run? I honestly, I do think it was. That's why I was so animated at the finish line. Not because I'm a 2-time Olympian. Like honestly, I came into this meet saying like, all right, regardless of the fact I'm not getting 4th. Like I'm going to make sure I'm on the team, and then I'll make sure I punch my ticket, and we can figure out the do's and the don'ts. But I was so animated because like it's only certain times where you can actually feel what you're doing in practice, and it replicates through all the hurdles. So for me, like I kind of knew I was riding, and then at that point, like I never hit hurdles. Obviously everybody knows that, and I hit a hurdle and actually fell on the ground for the first time ever. And yeah, I think
That's your entourage.
They're excited for you.
That's your entourage.
I think that was the run. Now, do I think it was probably 79? No, but I think it was low 80. So, you know, we take it with a grain of salt. 4 fastest off time, which is great. But as we all know, the mission's not finished. You know, we got to get ready to go to Paris, and the main goal is win Olympic gold.
Do you react in that moment? Like you said, you don't hit hurdles frequently. So that one time, it's like the Olympic trials final. Like, what goes to your mind in that last?
When I was going through, I knew my first 60 was actually really, really good, because once I got past hurdle 6, 7, I could still feel my speed picking up. I hit hurdle 8, and at the moment, like, I kind of froze, but I kind of didn't, because like when you freeze, that's when bad things happen. So I just kept going through with the motions, and then obviously I got to the finish line with 86. But I mean, that's why the hurdles are there. You're supposed to run through them, and I think that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, go ahead.
When to the previous question, you were saying like, you know, I was trying to make sure that I wasn't fourth. Like, we punch our ticket, deal with the BS as it comes. You know what I'm saying? But you the type of person, like, you just don't lose. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know what it is, but like, you don't know how to lose. Like, somebody was saying like you ain't lost like a 60-meter hurdle race in like 10 years. Like, I don't know nobody
I know how
else
to lose.
that's putting up that's putting up the stats for real. But like, is like, are you like ever like scared of losing? Like, if somebody else came out here today and was like, you know what, cool, like, I'm gonna be like Grant Holloway 2.0 and like give him that work, like, would you be afraid to like be in a race like that?
Not at all. I mean, if you can't bet on yourself at the end of the day, then what the hell you betting on? So like, I know if my life depended on it, like, I know I can show up, and that's the thing. Like, I made a joke yesterday while we were on the awards there.
No more Diddy jokes.
No, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I just be talking, but I made a comment, like, I don't really lose to other people. I lose to myself, and that's when I'm not executing my race plan, and that's when I'm like either too close to a hurdle, not executing the hurdle one. Like, that shows up. It doesn't really show up in a 60-meter race, but it shows up in a 110 race, and you know I stand by that. Like, that's really how I train my mind. That's what Coach Holloway and I both say. Like, that's kind of like the level of competitiveness that I'm at right now. I just train hard, and I know with everything that I'm doing in practice, as long as it translates to the track, like on game day, sub 13 is clearly the win.
There's obviously data points, right? The, like, you know, just the splits in between the hurdles. I look at the 400 hurdles, right? Like,
Oh, you got my splits?
No, I don't have them handy right now. But
Coach
like,
Holloway should have your splits handy.
what is the data saying in practice that gives you the confidence? They're like, all right, like, the final run was good, not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I've been training my butt off with Grace Stark. She's in the 100-meter hurdle finals today. I think the biggest thing is with that is just we do a drill where she lines up at the 100-meter mark, I line up at the 110 mark, and we set up hurdles and we just go. You know?
Wow.
And my job is to catch her. Her job is to get to the finish line before. So like, I kind of just keep going through, and that's what I'm envisioning as I'm running through, you know, my hurdles. Like, that's what I want to do. So like, as I'm going forward with it, it's just one of the things where, as long as I'm training hard like that each and every week, and I'm staying consistent under sub 13, at one day everything is gonna click. You know, it's the same thing that happened with Aries. He was running 94, 94, 97, 98, 94, 92. He ran so many, and then that one race, he doesn't even, like, I asked him to this day, it's like, what made you click that day? He was like, honestly, the stars aligned. I had a little bit of luck on my side, and you know, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, what is it about Coach Holloway? Because you're talking about, obviously, yourself. Grace Stark is like doing fantastic. Erriyon Knighton, we didn't see him all year, but he came here and just clicked. Like, what is it that is happening down in Gainesville?
Yeah, it's just it's the palm trees that we train under, man. But I think it's just a testament to the way we train, the way we carry ourselves, and you know, really just the way that we surround ourselves with great people. You know, you got Grace Stark coming up from the collegiates. Obviously, Erriyon and myself are holding up the pros. Joe is right there with us as well. Talitha Diggs, Ja'Cory Patterson, Ryan Willie. Like, the list goes on and on and on. And then on top of it, we have I don't know where we rank in the 4x1, but with myself, PJ Austin,
So he was talking about that.
Erriyon Knighton, and Joe, like, our training group is just that deep where we are able to, you know, push out times and have people contend for not only USA spots, but, you know, national spots for all countries.
Yeah, I guess, you know, Joe was on here yesterday,
Yeah.
electrified Twitter by saying that, you know, the Gainesville elite crew could beat Team USA or
It's like
any sort of
sub
country,
37, yeah.
which is fascinating.
Joe said that?
Joe said that.
Joe did say that.
Wait, you don't believe him?
No, if Joe said that, it's just like anything else.
Yeah.
Joe could go rob a bank, and it'd be like, all right, well, let's go rob the bank, Joe. Like, whatever Joe says, I might not agree with, but I got his back.
Joe for president.
So, yeah, exactly. If Joe says we can beat anybody, who am I to say no? Joe, we cannot beat them. Like, I'm a competitor just like Joe. So if Joe says let's line up against Team USA today, I go to my car, I grab my short shorts and my spikes, and we have to line it up.
We going to war.
Yeah,
Like,
you know how it is.
Okay,
You have
right.
certain friends in your group that you know are gonna have your back regardless.
Yep.
And I'm one of those people, like, regardless all the shit with Erriyon, obviously we all know about that now. But at the same time, it's like, that's my little brother. He
Going
can
to bat for him.
He can do no wrong in my eyes. Joe's my little brother. He can do no wrong in my eyes. I think the only person that's older than me is Robert Dunning. But
I
he's
thought y'all was the same age.
we're the same age, but he was born in June. Yes, June. I'm confirming it. He was born in
Your
June.
friends
You don't know your
your
friend's
birthday,
birthday.
right?
Yeah, he was born in June.
Rob,
But-
we don't really love you for real.
But like, one of the things is like, as that big brother in the group, they can do wrong 100 times over. The love and the trust that you have for them, the integrity that you have for them, regardless of any situation, they know I got their back. So if Joe says, hey, we line up against Noah Lyles, Tyson Gage, Justin Gatlin, and I think Fred Curley's the 4th fastest American in the 100.
goats, yeah.
Hey,
You better go to war.
hey, let's do it. We're doing it.
Do you think that's a part of like what makes you guys like so fast together? Not even just like on the relay level, but like we were just talking about, like there's a lot of magic down there in Gainesville with Mike Holloway and obviously like the amazing athletes that he coaches. But it sounds like the relationship that y'all have with each other is also what pushes y'all to greatness.
Yeah, I think when you have a training group that trusts in your ability, I think when you have a training group that no matter what bullshit happens in the world, they know that at the end of the day, they can lean on, I can't speak for everybody else, but they know they can lean on me. And that's the main thing. Like, when you have people that trust you and love you and know what your true capability is, there's nothing stopping you. That's what I always tell everybody. It's like, what you guys see on the track is just a product of the 51% that I deal with. The rest of the 49, between training staff, coaching, family, friends, like that makes up all that. Like the 51%, and then honestly, running on the track is the easy part. But like the behind the scenes stuff, what people don't see, I think it's always tough.
For sure.
So we've been discussing with like the guys that we've had on just sort of the relay pool, right? And like there's been a very vocal online campaign to get you on one of these relays.
It's not gonna happen.
You don't think so?
No.
Why not?
You're technically in the relay pool, right? Because you're being on Team USA,
Everybody's
all that stuff.
technically
Right,
in
yeah.
Fucking Ryan Krauser's in the relay pool right now
Hey,
too.
look. Listen, when I had Josh Awatunde as third leg
Yeah,
in 2022,
exactly.
everybody thought I was crazy.
He's
But
in the
look,
relay pool. Personally, I don't think Team USA is ever gonna go out on that limb to put me in it. Do I want to run it? Absolutely. Do I care about it at this point? Not no more. From 21 when I first turned, 2019 when I first turned pro, obviously 2020 was COVID, but 21, 22, 23, I've always said, yo, let me know, I'm ready, I'm here. And it's like, nah, we leave you on the shelf. You keep collecting dust. But at this point, like,
collecting medals. Actually.
Collecting medals. That's a great analogy. But at this point, like, for me, it's like I don't want to say I've given up. If my name is called, I'm ready. My motto is I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. So if my name is called, I'm ready. But with Christian Coleman at first leg, either Fred or Kenny at second, Erriyon at third, and they don't need me. I mean, like, let's be honest. Unless, God forbid, anything happens to one of the four, yes, I'll move up. But then at the same time, I don't remember, other than after Christian, I can't remember who
There's a Christian Miller, the high school kid.
Christian Miller. They won't use him because he doesn't have experience. What's the next one?
I think Courtney Lindsay was there.
They'll use Courtney Lindsay because he was at
Kyrie
relay.
made the
And
final
Kyrie.
too,
So what I'm thinking now is, you spoke about Grand Slam track, that
Yeah.
you're interested in it. You have to double 110 hurdles and 100.
Right.
But like he's a
Would-
650-60 guy.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like,
I know. So you already have the credentials, but now it's like you haven't run a sprint race or a 100-meter dash
Right.
in years. Now you might be able to show yourself, and that might,
Yeah, that's definitely.
You ran a 14.5 150?
14-1.
14.1.
Yeah.
it's like get it right.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
That day I was on one though. Yeah, I to answer your question, I definitely will. If I decide to take that route with Michael Johnson and Grand Slam track, I'll definitely have to double. But I have never trained for 100 meters. Even when I was running the 60, I never trained for 60 meters. It was always, all right, Grant, take the hurdles out the way, do the same thing without it. Like, I've never really worked on like foot speed. Like, I'll do flying, I'll do 60 meters and practice, but like that's just working on like just excel patterns, finding the rhythm. Like that's the biggest thing with me in hurdles is like, as long as I find my rhythm and I can just keep it going, like that's really what we do. But I've never trained, so I think that's going to open up a new can of worms for Coach Holloway and I if I decide to take that route. Obviously, Coach Holloway would stand behind me if I decide, like, hey, I want to go this route. I think it'll be good. Do you want me to run 100? He's probably going to say no. But then at that point, it's like, you know, we're talking about my future, my career. So we'll see what happens. But the relay pool is always just going to be an interesting question because Team USA is very picky about who they use. They set rules and regulations in, which they should. But now you're thinking, okay, Christian Coleman doesn't have to run the 1 or the 2. So now we know he's automatic first leg. You look at the rest of the pool, I'm sure, depending on, I can't speak for everybody else, but if everybody else is fresh by the time of the end of the meet, nobody's going to want to give up that shot. It's the Olympics. Everybody wants to be on the track there at that point. And I feel like for Christian Miller, the high schooler, he's at a disadvantage already because the biggest thing is what Team USA always says is it's always about experience. You know, Erriyon Knighton, he at the time he ran 1949. He did a stellar third leg at Florida Relays, but they probably won't use him because of experience. It's like one of the things, like it's a double-edged sword. It's like, oh snap, I qualified, but now I have to figure out how to get some experience under my belt.
So yeah, go ahead.
It's just tough. It's tough.
On the 4x4 side, your fellow Bullis star, Quincy Wilson. It's been interesting to hear like some of the top pros advocating for him to get that experience.
That's the thing, though. In order to get experience, you have to be thrown into the workforce. In order to get experience, you have to be able to go run relay after relay and do stuff like that.
The beauty of the 400, the 4x4 is that you get the mixed one, though, that you can experiment in.
You get the mixed one, and then honestly, it's like, other than, I don't really remember the rules that happened at World Relays, but like I didn't even know that was a rule, to be honest. That happened with Champion Allison because we can switch all the time at NCAA. But like other than that rule, it's you take 3 steps, you put your hand out, thumb up, you grab the baton, you run around the track, and then when you hand the baton off, you hand it as high as you can to hand it to the next person. Like that's easier than watching.
You can teach that 10 minutes before they get on the line.
Versus looking at a mark on the track. As soon as they hit that mark, you're good. If you leave late, you're screwed. You leave early, you're screwed. Like,
learning how to gauge speed at that level is very difficult.
It's very different. So like the 4x4 is way easier to get on a team or run a relay than the 4x1. Because the 4x1, you mess up once. Now we're looking at ourselves like we're in Tokyo and we didn't even have the final.
And imagine like just the online sort of thing for a high school kid. Like But to close the loop on that, Quincy Wilson in the 4x4 relay pool, yes or no?
Yes.
No.
He's a 757 brat like myself. I have no problem. The biggest thing is you need to tell him if I'm a USATF coach, I'm telling him, hey, I need 44.5.
He said he ready for it though, because when he was on the show, he was like, look, if they put me on the relay, cool, because like I'm gonna treat all of them like my brothers. He's like, I really be like actively trying to talk to Vernon and the rest of them, because he's like, if I know that like these is my brothers, these are people that I'm coming out with, like I'm gonna fight for them. They're gonna fight for me. I'm gonna fight for them. So he said he ready.
Agree. I mean, the easiest way is to tell him, hey, I need you to come through 44 mid every time. And then even on his worst day, if he knows like, all right, I have to be here 44 mid, so even if he goes back home. And let's just say he's doing repeat 400s. Now I know he's not going to come through 44 every repeat, but like if you train the body on like what you need to do,
how to be consistent at a specific pace,
just like anything else. Like my biggest thing is consistency. Like I know I can get on the track right now and run 13 flat. Like I know how to run 13 flat. Consistency plays a huge role in track and field, and I think just with relays and everything, that consistency fails to be there because we don't run the same team every time like most of the other countries. But then again, we're trying to implement the relay camps. We're trying to implement this, so it's working out in our favor.
Yeah. Go ahead. So I was thinking about this just sort of like in the overarching narratives, like you know how NBC is going to sort of like promote the storylines ahead of this race. For you, like the story picks up right from Tokyo.
Yeah.
I'm so curious, like, because you've done such a great job of burying the ghost of Tokyo, like, mentally, I guess, like, what was the biggest challenge in doing that? And, like, it's so far behind you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, after Tokyo, I'll be honest, like, I started drinking heavy just to try to cope with it. I'm not really ashamed of it because I like to have a good time. Everybody knows that, but I think I was having too much of a good time, if that makes sense. And then, obviously, 2022, got the Triple Crown. 2023 won Worlds, and then this past indoor season, won another indoor title. So like it's there. And you know, I tell everybody I had probably one of the worst races of my life, while Hansel Parchment ran the best race of his life on that day. Like that's the main thing about most of these track meets. Like everybody knows they're in sub 13 shape, but can you do it on this day in these conditions, you know, time after time?
Nice. Well, as we look forward to Paris, right, it's going to be a different experience in Tokyo. You'll have fans there, right? Everyone's going to kind of, that atmosphere is really going to be turning up. I mean, what's your mindset as you prepare for that? Of course, the race, but then being in Paris, getting a chance to get another chance at Olympic gold.
Yeah, the first thing is just making it out of that first round. I think the biggest thing where people lose sight, even like now, everybody's so excited about making a team, but it's like this is just a building block to where we need to be. So for me, it's just like I just want to get there, do everything, hoopla, opening ceremony, wave, smile, and then I want to shift my focus to, all right, who's in my first round? Who can I key off of? What lane am I in? How can I do this? What's the feel of the track? You know, asking myself all those small, minute questions so that when I get there, it's second nature to me.
So you keep tabs on your opponents? Because a lot of hurdlers say, like, it's just me and the 10 hurdles.
Nah, so it depends. So, like, for me, I'm a hurdle guru. Like, I know where people are going to peak. I know where people are going, you know, where people's strong points are, weak points are. So, like, even in the race this past weekend, I paint a picture for you. Like, I'm in lane 6. Michael Dix is in lane 5. Daniel Roberts is in lane 4. For me, I'm happy I'm not next to Daniel because he starts really well. So, like, now I'm not getting thrown out my race plan. So, in my head, I'm keying off of Michael Dixon. He's a 13-1 hurdler, great guy, but he's not – I know I can get him in my first 3 meters. So, in my head, I'm racing Michael. And then as I get going, I know Freddie's going to close, but if I get enough space, Freddie's not the best closer. He's not a Hansel Parchment. He's not a Broadbell. He's not going to close as fast. He'll close, but he's not closing like blazing speed at the end. So like that's everything that's going through my head. So I know when I'm in a race, yes, it's my barriers, but it's different when you know where someone's going to be around you. You know, where people make their moves and make their marks.
I would say like the most fun part about like watching like the final race and then like being on Twitter at the same time was like how many people that were like, look, Grant can break the world record. Like, just so you know, I still have the $1 waiting for you. So whenever you decide that you want to break it, you will be $1 richer. But nah, a lot of people were talking about like, look, if Grant really has somebody to like push him, like that is going to be the prime opportunity for him to go ahead and break that record. Because we know you bad all by yourself, but sometimes it's fun to obviously like see that competition and like I know that like cues for you in your head, like, okay, as you said before, I have to make sure that like 3 people don't beat me. So the fun part was like watching Freddie and like Daniel like essentially like give you that work. Like obviously like you were still ahead, but like Freddie, for him, he's like, I made the team last year. I made the final. I'm not passing up this opportunity for me to be an Olympian. He's like, I'm 29 years old.
Absolutely.
If I ain't got if it's any time to do it, it needs to be right now. And then obviously Daniel is always a contender. He's always a factor. And like and y'all two have been going back and forth since, I don't know, 10 years plus at this point.
Damn,
so
they're close to it.
It was like having both of them really like push up on you, seeing Freddie like close as best as he could, and then it pushed you to run something historical, but then it also pushed for Daniel and for Freddie to run something historical for themselves as well. Both of them had PRs, and so I just want to know what it felt like for you to like be a part of those 3 and like understand that as other people continue to get faster, it makes you faster as well.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this sport. You know, when you see somebody run 12.9 or you see me run sub 13 twice, it's like, all right, in order to beat Grant, I know I have to go sub 13. And Daniel and Freddie both did that, and they both PR'd. Like, when you run a race and you literally run your best race and you still, you know, don't get the result you want, but you can say, like, well, I gave it everything I had, and it still wasn't enough. So now I know when I go back to practice, I got to work twice as hard.
Yeah.
Like, I fully expect a podium sweep. And
thank you.
I fully expect the podium
now
sweep.
Now all of y'all can cuss Grant out instead of me.
That's fine. I always take some heat. But I fully expect the podium sweep, not just because we're all Americans, but that race right there was probably one of the best races that we've seen in a very, very long time in the 110 hurdles. I can sit here and say, like, yes, they're my friends. That's why I'm vouching for them. But, like, no, just stats alone, you know, you're looking at it. I mean, even before we even got here, we had, I want to say 6 or 7 Americans within the top 10 for 110 hurdles. So, like, it's there. Like, we know what we're capable of. It's like I said before, we all have to do it on that day. And I might be wrong. Like, maybe on that day, we all just shit the bed and it's no podium sweep. But
I'm really hoping that doesn't happen.
No, me too, because I'm part of that fucking podium sweep, so I don't want that to happen. But I'm saying, though, like, just going forward, like, we just did that race, and we know what it feels like. We know what it takes. So now we're going to just try to go back to, I think Daniel's in North Carolina, Freddie's in Arizona, myself in Florida. And we're all just going to try to put the pieces to the puzzle together and get faster.
When do you rewatch this race?
When did I rewatch it?
Or when are you going to?
I mean, I see it on Twitter. I haven't sat down and analyzed it. Yeah, I haven't looked at each hurdle. Usually, Coach Holloway and I look at splits and then figure out like where we left a little bit of a second or two here or a second or two there. But no, I haven't looked at it yet. You want me to watch it?
No. I was just bringing it up.
I'm about to be talking
Right now, we gotta do a breakdown.
So, I guess I want to touch on some bigger picture sort of topics. We already talked Grand Slam track, but this was fun with Rye in the mix zone. Rye stops for like 12, 15 minutes in the mix zone, and just like, I'm like, this man is going to run for office someday, because he just like will have an opinion about every single thing. So I'll run through some of the topics we discussed with him, and I want your thoughts, because, you know, sometimes you take to Twitter and you're like, no, this is what I think, but I want to hear just sort of.
My Twitter's a
general.
safe place.
Yeah, it is.
You be cutting up too much.
Ultimate Champs. Like, when we have this problem where we have, you know, the.
Wait, what'd you say?
Stupid.
Oh, okay.
Okay, why is that? The name or in general?
Oh, in general.
I think the name is
No, the name
silly.
is the name is the name. But you gotta think about it. The human body can only take but so much. We've been going nonstop, no break, indoors and outdoors since COVID. So at some point, someone's gonna get hurt. Something's gonna happen, and that's what we don't want in the sport of track and field. We want our stars to stay on top so we can keep writing storylines about them, but then we also want to see the new up-and-coming people, you know, take over at the same time. For me personally, I would love to get on with my life. I think I said on Twitter I want to make babies, so I guess I'll stick with that. So I think I will stick with that.
Tell your girlfriend run.
So I for me, it's like I want to do something other than track. Like, I want to step away. That's just me.
You need to be the old head, drunk
I
as
will-
hell.
You gotta let someone else
Skittles
win for
out.
I
once.
will be the old head.
With the glasses on, be like, Unc, why you don't shut up? Be like, that's my nephew. Mind you, don't know nobody at the damn track meet.
But that's just me though. Like, I would like, because originally 2026 was gonna be the off year. I think it was only gonna be World Indoors. So then basically, if you decide, like, you got to be contract obligations and everything like that. But by July, June, really end of June, beginning of July, your season can be done.
Yeah.
So now you got all July, all of August, and then whenever you start back fall training. So now you gave that body that break. But now they're just demanding, okay, after the Olympics this year, we got another World Indoors. After World Indoors, we got a World Championship. After that World Championship, we got another World Indoors. And then you got to do this, what is it? Ultimate
Champs.
Then you got to do the Ultimate Champs. Then right after that, guess what? You got another, it's 2027. So you're off the indoor season, but then you got another Worlds, and then by we're already in LA.
Well, then in LA, that same year, there's Ultimate Champs after that.
But then
That's
here's
news
my
to me.
question though. Here's my question though. Like, I definitely be hearing what y'all be saying, but like, as somebody who's obviously been like a high competitor, like in college and as a professional, like, what's the difference between like doing 2 championships? I mean, I guess essentially 4 championships a year for college for 4 straight years, and then, you know, going pro and then doing a championship every single year.
It's just different. You know, you can be the NCAA champion, but that doesn't translate. Well, other than myself and a couple others, it doesn't translate from being NCAA champion straight to world champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's that gap where it's track and field is hard. Like, it's tough, and it doesn't always translate all the way over. So I mean, like, at the end of the day, I may be sitting here just talking some shit and saying like, oh, I'm not going to do it. And then next thing you know, you see me in the damn track meet in 2-3 years. Like, obviously, like, me personally, my opinion, I just think.
I mean, you can have an opinion and still do something.
Yeah. I mean, I've always got an opinion on my But I'm saying, like, as you go forward, you want to be able to let you, like, have your mind rest and be like, all right, I can let my guard down. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. Like, for me, it's like when off season comes, you don't hear, like, other than my charity event, y'all don't hear. I'm quiet. Like,
Everybody come together.
Plug the charity event.
Wait, I gotta plug pocket. Remember, this is my job. Okay, if y'all wait, what's the day again? October.
All right, look,
it's October.
August. Yeah, it's October 25, 26.
Okay, if you don't got nothing to do in Gainesville, October 25th through the 26th, y'all need to come. Y'all gonna have raffles. We gonna play poker. We gonna get drunk. We gonna play golf. We not gonna. I don't know what we talking about. I'm not
And playing golf. We got great
completely
golf.
different event. It's at.
That's the after
Nah,
party.
but at the end of the day, like if you don't got nothing to do in October, Gainesville, Grand Holloway is putting on a really special show. Some charity money going to some very, very special people. And
Absolutely.
honestly, I think it's gonna be a great time hanging out with you.
Yeah, I think that she hit it right on the head. I mean, a little bit more in detail. All money that is raised goes to families less fortunate in need. Help them out for Thanksgiving. Help them out for the holiday. Just a little bit of everything. And then this year, I'm trying to implement building together like some type of scholarship for whatever school somebody wants to go to.
That's dope. That's dope.
Last year we raised close to $32,000. Right now we're already at 15. So
I got $1 for you. I told you.
that's all. I feel like I gotta run fast for that.
Well, Grant, I'm curious just to circle back because I feel like there's a push and pull, right? Where athletes, it's demanding every single year going back and forth. But then, promoters are like, we need to get more eyes on the sport, right? We want to, put the athletes out there all the time to, grow the viewership. How do you kind of balance that push and pull?
I mean, for me, I go in and out. Like when it's time to go in, cool. But when it's time to go out, I step away. We always say we want to build the sport, but the sport is not going to get any. My eyes, I don't think the sport can get any bigger because we're in America. We're competing against American football. We can competing against basketball. Gymnastics is huge for us. Like we have all these top premier stuff, but track and field is always going to be bottom tier. Like I just think that's just how it is. But I think with Grand Slam track, with the Ultimate Challenge.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Challenge. I think with the new Diamond League schedule that they're trying to implement, I think that will help, continue just to get track and field going. I think what's really hurting it is I think what I read that Flow Track is taking all rights. Yeah, I think that's the stupidest thing ever, but I guess people got paid $35 a month to watch track and field.
Yeah, so I mean, like, this is another thing Rye was talking about. Like, the athletes are pretty vocal about like where they want to be seen, right? Like, that is something that's important to you. Just sort of like, hey, like, if I'm going out to all these meets, like, I want to be able to be visible to all these people.
You want to tell your family, hey, I'm running on channel 12 at 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Not log into this app. Like me personally, I've already said Flow Track is the reason why some people shy away from the sport. Because if I have to if I have to go on my phone, log in, go through all these hoops and loops just to watch a track meet, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to go to my cable. I want to hit NBC, say NBC into my remote, sit back, crack open a Viva, and watch the meet. Like, but that's just me. Like, I just think it's crazy that we're gatekeeping track and field. Like, I literally told my parents, I was like, don't buy no subscription. It'll be on YouTube in 15 minutes after I run.
It's true.
Y'all didn't hear it from me. Like, that's how you finesse it.
Well, and one other thing I do want to ask, I know you spoke a little bit about it after the race, but the kid, right?
Chase.
Yeah. Talk
What's
about
the story?
Chase.
You just plucked a kid?
No, Make-A-Wish Foundation, this motherfucker. So Chase and I, we've been OG friends since 2018, 2019. So I've literally watched him grow up, and he's been at all my meets in America. We always take a picture, and so I gave him, after the first round, I ran 92. Came around, I saw him, I gave him fist pumps, brought him over, put him on my shoulder, we took a picture. And then afterwards, I had told his pop, I was like, hey, once the mission's complete, I do what I have to do. I'll pick him up, give him some TV time on the main screen. And that's really what it was. I just wanted to create like an atmosphere for him that when he grows up in 20, 25 years, he can be like, yo, Grant Holloway picked me up when I was a kid. And all his friends be like, what? No, man, you lying. And then he shows the picture and it's like, oh, snap, like really. Like, so I just want to make a memory and a moment for him, and I think it's been great.
The joke that you threw out there is Grant Holloway doesn't sell tickets.
I don't.
I think you do. And like hearing just all these other athletes talk about you, there is just sort of like this great respect for what you do and like how you've mastered this craft. Is it the event? Like, I'm just trying to think, like, what
No, so
what do you think it is that's missing?
It's the event. It's the people that we have in the sport. It's the fact that in America we have the world's fastest man. Who doesn't want to see Noah Lyles win? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Noah Lyles says he's going for 4 goals, guess what everybody wants? We want the world's fastest man to have 4 goals. I want the world's fastest man to have 4 goals. And that's the joke. I know I sell tickets. I know people want me. Like, I think Kaylin was telling me, like, oh, we want you to be the face of track and field. It's like, okay, cool. I want
appreciate that.
I want to be that too, but like we gotta realize that we have a guy that hasn't done most of this stuff since Usain Bolt, and we want friction. I don't want friction. Like, if Noah is that guy for us, let him be that guy. If I'm that guy for us, let me be that guy. But I don't want to be like, oh, I'm in competition with Noah, because at the end of the day, Noah and I are great friends. Noah's like a brother to me. And the stuff that I say to you guys, I will still say to Noah's face. Like, there's no, like, push and pull for me. It's like, when I put that tweet out, I saw Noah 10 minutes later, and we were in a we were in an event truck going to Adidas Boost games. Like, that's just how I am, and there's no, like, there's no animosity, there's no enviness, and none of that.
Okay, so this ties in perfectly because Kenny Bednarek, I think, will be coming on the show next, and we've been having this whole sort of discussion. It's like, this man just made the 100-meter team and the 200-meter team.
He doesn't get no pub.
And he doesn't get any pub. And I'm like, why is that? And I think that he should be a little bit more arrogant, you know, when if he wins and beats Noah. Well, I guess, what is the solve there, you think?
So that's the same thing that someone asked me at World Indoors. If I run my mouth a lot more, calling out any hurtler, calling them out their name, you know what I mean, like saying stuff, I'm going to get all the attention because it's like, oh, shit. Grant's talking shit to somebody. Is he going to lose or is he going to win? Like, you want that storyline, but myself, Kenny, whoever else, we have that laid-back attitude where it's like, hey, we're just here. We're great at the sport. We want to work hard. We're fierce competitors. But if we get no pub, we're still going to go out there and go run.
And make money.
9-7 and 12-9.
Yeah.
If we go out there and talk shit, we're still going to go run 9-7 and 12-9. So it's like kind of just one of the. It's just a give. It's a give and take. Like, if we open our mouths a little bit more, it will open everybody's eyes to be like, okay, we want to watch this to see if Grant wins. But that's not me. That's not who I am. I mean, even the other day, I was having a conversation with some people at Adidas, and someone had asked me like, hey, what uniform are you coming out in? Because Noah came out in the red, white, and blue uniform. Anna came out in the Stella. It's like that's not me. That's not who I am. I don't need the uniforms. I don't need the cameras. At the end of the day, give me, like I said, give me a pair of blocks, give me some spikes, give me some short shorts, and give me 10 hurdles. I'll run shirtless for all I care.
What would you put in that briefcase if you would have pulled a stunt like that? Because obviously you were pretty upset, and like I was a little bummed out by what ended up being in the briefcase. So I'm with you. It's like, yeah, in the end, that wasn't worth the breaking news graphic.
No, you're all good. I was just giving you a hard time.
I love
honestly,
it.
Put it what I put in the briefcase. Like, you would think like maybe like a new design of spikes.
That's what we thought would have been the move.
Oh, maybe like I think thinking of track and field, maybe like a new design of spikes, something that is like, oh, like when Fred broke out the gold A6 at World Champs last year. Like that's briefcase worthy. It's like nobody has these. It's vintage, one of one.
Yeah. God. Even like a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Pop that after the race.
Oh, that would be a great idea because
Some
Snoop Dogg.
Pappy.
Yeah. Fuck. Man, we both said woo. But Snoop Dogg makes wine. So even if Snoop Dogg was like, hey, I'm gonna launch my new wine in this briefcase, you know, something like that. But I didn't see nothing crazy about it.
The Yu-Gi-Oh cards bummed me out.
Not the Yu-Gi-Oh
It
cards.
really bummed me out.
I don't know Yu-Gi-Oh, so
Me neither.
All that's new to me.
Well, we got some good storylines going into, you know, the Olympics. Even if you haven't created it, it's like you versus Hansel Parchment, right? You've gotten the best of him at Worlds. You got the best of you at Olympics. That's a good storyline.
Absolutely.
In Paris, right?
I mean, you think about it, not just Hansel, but over the years, we have snap. I call him baby boy Lorenzo. Who's the Italian hurdler name?
Lorenzo. Wait, the young.
He ran 13:05. The young one.
Oh,
All right.
I
Well,
know.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, he ran 13:05. He's in contention. Obviously, you have Daniel and Freddie who just ran PBs. Myself, you can't leave Broadbell out of the conversation because he was on fire until he hit the 6th or 7th hurdle at World Championships and fell. Like, you have all these people that you don't know which version you're gonna get that day. And I mean, like, if you really think about it, showing my hurdle history, Hansel Parchment was not running the best in 2021, but over time he just slowly did that upward trend, and then on that day he ran 13:04 at not World Champs, at Olympics. 13:03, 13:04 to win the gold, and I ran 13:09. So it's like you never know what can happen on that day. Only thing you can control is yourself, your emotions, your preparation, and then when that moment comes, not making it too big, not making it too small, and going out there and taking what's yours.
All right, I guess the final question I've got for you is just like, what are the other storylines in the sport that you're like very invested in? Because it's fun sometimes, like in our comment section, to see like, oh, like these sprinters are loving the Jakob Ingebrigtsen versus Josh Kerr shit talk.
That's a big one.
But yeah, for you, I guess what stands out?
Jakob Ingebrigtsen is up there.
Do you take a side? Whose side are you on?
I'm always on Josh.
Okay.
That's my boy. We were in college together. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's just don't hate me, guys.
Bias.
But that's just I'm just
No,
biased.
I think it's a
because
popular
I know
pick.
him.
Yeah.
I just like him because we grew up together. We did the sport. Like, we have that. I think what really story that needs to be told a little bit more is you have 400 hurdlers, all 47 mid, and then I think a Jamaican just ran another 47.7.
Yeah, 47 mid. Yeah.
Yeah, another like.
All the guys are at 46 mid.
Excuse me, 46 mid. Sorry, guys. But you have all those people who are running that. I mean, obviously, Rod's my dog. Like, Rod could go rob a bank right now, and I'll go post his bail.
What's up with all these guys robbing banks?
I don't know. That's just my analogy. I think it's a horrible analogy because it's like if you really go rob a bank while you're doing really, really good in this sport, it's like, damn, you're really down bad. But I know you got Rod, you got the Santos, you got Warholm. It's just one of the things, like, that storyline is great. Like, that's where I'll invest my energy. And obviously, who doesn't want to see the fastest man? Like, even myself, who doesn't want to see the fastest man in the world? The Jamaican just ran 9:77.
Yeah, that 100 just got really interesting.
Yeah, he just ran 9:77. Obviously, you got the reigning world champion in Noah Lyles, 83. Oblique Seville ran 82.
982,
yeah, so, like, who doesn't want to see the fastest man? And it's shaping up that it's going to be 3 Americans, 3 Jamaicans, and then whoever else makes it.
That looks like 2012 all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
It
So,
is.
like, who doesn't want to see that remake in history?
Before we close out, I did see this morning you posted a little promo ad for Gillette, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
shit.
my bad. No, I mean,
you're good.
So I saw it. I didn't even click on it yet, but then I saw him like, is he about to shave his head again? That's immediately what I thought.
Ball brothers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on.
No, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, when I did that, honestly, everybody wants me to do it. I don't know if that's going to help me sell tickets or what. But
I'm only going to this meet if Grant shaves his head.
like, literally, like, I don't know. But, like, when I did it, it was one of the spontaneous decisions. I'm a very spontaneous guy. Like, I just like going with the flow. If you're like, hey, we're getting ready to go to Wild Duck right now, I'm like, all right, I don't got nothing to do for 3 hours. Like, I'm going with you guys.
Or
Like,
getting ready to rob a bank, right?
yeah, if we want to rob a bank, we'll be shit. Just make me the driver. But, like, it's just one of the spontaneous decisions where I was just like, I need a haircut. I got a messed up haircut. So then I was like, I said, what is this? Don't know English. I said, give me this. And he just buzzed it all the way down. Like, that's where I was at, though. But I don't think I'm going to, but it's a 5% chance I might.
There we go.
Is this the most fun you're having in the sport so far?
I've been having fun with this sport a long time. Like, obviously, I said 2021 was tough, or 2022 was tough, but, like, I learned how to take, like, when it's track mode, be in track. It's like an on and off switch. When it's track time, be in track time. When it's time to relax, decompress, have fun, like, I don't have a problem opening up a Viva, opening up a bottle of wine, and sitting by the pool and just relax. Like, I don't have a problem, like, just turning it off. Like, just being Grant versus being Grant Holloway, if you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like, so I'm having fun with the sport. I think my team and I everybody's clicking on all cylinders. I can't wait to get back and show them the medal and, you know, really just get back to work. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, these last 3 weeks of training were great. So I kind of want to replicate all that going back into Olympics. So I might run maybe 1 meet. I might run 2 meets. But, like, I want to be able to have that 3-week period where I'm just in the lab, grinding, and just making it happen.
The sign-off with John Anderson was super special.
Yeah, that's my Dyer. I'm glad. So he actually planned this 4 or 5 months ago. He was like, yo, I want you to be my last one. He's like, just make the team. Like, whatever you do, just make the team before you go. So he texted me the day before. He was like, bring your pods of air, AirPods. Old people, don't worry about it. Bring your pods of air and make sure you're going to the Olympics, and I'll get you on. So it was special. We'll be still tag teaming on the Bowerman.
Yep.
As long as he's there, I'm there, and I mean the sky's the limit with us too.
I love it. One of my favorite bromances in track and field. All right, Grant. Well, we appreciate you stopping by. I can't wait to celebrate more in Paris, and we're looking forward to everything you throw down over the next couple
Hey
weeks.
man,
in training.
thank you guys so much for having me. Pleasure is all mine.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be back shortly with our next couple guests. We've got Kenny Bednarek, Parker Valby, and a couple more probably lined up. So, yeah, stay tuned.